Good morning, Emil Kadlec here with Football Diehards, Week 2 of the NFL season. The line of Scrimmage Cash Game Show with the scholar, John Laub. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy I survived Week 1 in cash games. Emil, it was a tough week out there. I broke even, so I was very happy to break even. The summa cum laude lineup, I didn't cash on that one. Always wanted to be honest with the viewers. But I did cash on the magna cum laude lineup, and I entered both of them equal amounts. With Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, that really, kept me at break even.
I'll tell you what,
I had to
Kyler
go
Murray,
back to the drawing board. I've been working hard this week. I want to cash in both lineups. It was probably in my 5 years, it was probably in the bottom 10 weeks that I've had. It happens. You just got to keep going back to the drawing board, trust your process, and continue to do your research.
Well, as we talked, Week 1 is a crazy week, and to break even on tough weeks is, of course, where you want to be. You don't lose a lot, and then you have the bigger week. So that's fantastic. All right, you ready for the first slide?
Absolutely, my friend.
Here you are.
We always like to begin with the sleepers for the week. And we know that everyone wants to invest in that Cowboys-Chargers game, myself included, Titans-Seahawks, Falcons-Buccaneers. There are so many games. So you've got to find value at other positions this week. I want to begin at the quarterback position and Joe Burrow. If you are looking at the quarterback rankings, I'm most comfortable going down to Joe Burrow. He's only $58,000 on the salary. He's 3% ownership. I was shocked at how well Jamar Chase played last week. I had T. Higgins, and he was fine, but Jamar Chase was a little bit better. But what does that tell me? That tells me that Joe Burrow and this offense is loaded. They are absolutely loaded. I have the utmost confidence that Joe Burrow is going to throw the ball at least 30 times. Last week, he put the ball in the air 27 times, but I think he throws even more on the road against Chicago. I also do not like this Bears defense. It's not the defense of Vic Fangio 3 years ago. This defense isn't as good, Emil. Wow. We saw what the Rams did to them. And I don't think the Bengals are as good as the Rams. But with Joe Mixon healthy and that running game playing well, and that trio of wide receivers with Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, I love Joe Burrow 5,800. If you want to invest in the Dallas and the San Diego and the Los Angeles passing games at wide receiver, you need some salary saving at quarterback. I like Burrow here. Chase Edmonds is interesting to me. He's got 11% ownership. The game kind of got out of hand last week because the Cardinals easily won that game by the fourth quarter. And in the fourth quarter, they put James Conner in the game. But if you look before, if you were watching this game live or watched the tape, Chase Edmonds was about even in snaps with James Conner until the start of the fourth quarter. What I love about this, Chase Edmonds had 12 rushing attempts. He had 4 targets, and he caught all 4 passes.
Nice.
He's less than $5,000, Emil. He's at home this week against the Vikings, and they have some serious injuries on the defensive line and at linebacker. Also, the Viking secondary didn't show me very much against the Bengals. So the Vikings here on the road, I'm very happy to pick on this defense. I have a pass-catching running back at 4,900. Love Chase Edmonds in this matchup. Last week, I had Jalen Reagor and Jalen Hurts in my summa cum laude lineup. They scored 28.7 and 16.9 points respectfully. What sabotaged me in that lineup was Aaron Jones and the Packers. So depressed about that Packer game, but that's another story. So the sabotage last week. But Reagor showed me a lot. I was heavily drafted Reagor in my season-long leagues. He barely went up. Sorry, everyone. My dog is barking. My wife just came home. He went from 3,700 to 4,100. I can get a starting wide receiver attached to a dynamic young quarterback at a home game against secondary that I believe has at least one secondary member already out and another secondary member not likely to play. Look at this 49ers secondary. It is not the secondary that went to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. They can be burned here, and Reagor's only 2% owned. I love him against the 49ers. Last week, Emil, you and I spoke about Marquez Callaway. I faded him. I said on the show I was going to fade him, and I did not like the matchup at all against Green Bay. This week, I'm going to play Marquez Callaway, Emil. Only 5% owned. If you look at what Corey Davis did against the Panthers, he was phenomenal. Also, if you look at air yards, Elijah Moore was incredible. He had as many air yards as Corey Davis. Now, he didn't convert, and he hurt my lineup tremendously. Also, if you watch the film, there are a couple times that Elijah Moore got behind the secondary of the Panthers, but he did not get the pass from Zach Wilson. Wilson just did not see him beat the secondary deep. The Panthers' corners can be beat. I believe that most people are going to be off of Callaway because of what happened last week against Green Bay. I'm in this week against the Panthers for 4,200. He's only 5% owned. Emil, those are my DFS sleepers this week. What do you think, my friend?
I love them. I think it's really fun, and it was so neat talking about this last week about Callaway. I thought it was a great phenomena how he was the number one owned receiver last week. And we talked about fading. You made a great point that actually came true. He just flopped. And now nobody wants him. He's at 5%. Now, 5% is not horribly low, but it's definitely been burned. But you make a good point. Sometimes we live in the past. We got to recognize he's still the number one receiver for the Saints. And you pointed out that the Saints defense is, not the greatest right now. So great opportunity to put Callaway in. And, of course, we made a great point about Reagor, 2% owned. I mean, nobody wants this guy, even though he scored a touchdown. And Edmonds, it's interesting. Edmonds is like, I had it here a second ago, and now I've lost it. He's 1, 2, 3, 4. He's the sixth highest owned running back this week at this point here on Saturday.
At 11%, he's the sixth highest owned.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I knew he was well owned. I didn't realize he was that well owned. Wow, it's amazing. Yeah. I like him in this matchup, Emil.
Yeah, are you talking at all about the defense, the Denver receivers, Patrick and Hamler at all in the rest of the slides?
So I am not, because I've looked at this a lot, and I like Cortland Sutton this week and Noah Fant. And the problem is, KJ Hamler is the home run hitter, and I don't necessarily love him in cash games because there's a high return but a huge risk. Mm-hmm. And Tim Patrick has a very nice floor, but I don't know what his ceiling is. I wish I could take Hamler and Patrick and put him into one player, which was Jerry Jeudy, but we don't have Jeudy. So I believe Hamler's a great GPP play, but I do not like him in cash games.
Fantastic. All right, let's go to the next slide.
And every week, I want to help you build your cash game lineups. And I love to give you a fantastic 4 to build around. We also, on footballdiehards.com, we have an amazing DFS optimizer tool. You can use the tool for cash games or GPP lineups. So if you want, plug my fantastic 4 into our optimizer. You can lock down these 4 players, and you can build from 10 to 20 lineups around these 4 players, and you can choose from amongst them to put into your cash games. Obviously, I want a piece of Dallas at Los Angeles. There's no question in my mind. I think it is a cash game lock that you need at least 2, probably 3. But I'm going to give you one because you can build your pieces around Justin Herbert. Emil, what impressed me most about Los Angeles last week was the offensive line. Offensive line, offensive line.
Wow.
I was worried that Justin Herbert would be harassed by that front 4 of the Washington football team. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, Justin Herbert had a white uniform on, and it was crispy clean. That uniform was as pristine at the end of the day as it was at the beginning at kickoff. And the best battle in that game, the first-round pick, offensive tackle Darisaw, he played against Chase Young because he's from Northwestern. He schooled Chase Young, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
I believe Chase Young is one of the top 3 pass rushers in the league. Darisaw handled Chase Young. That offensive line for Los Angeles is so much better. If Phillip Rivers could have only dreamed of having this offensive line around him when he was always sacked, he was always harassed. Justin Herbert had a clean pocket. He had plenty of time to throw, and the Cowboys just lost. Isn't it DeMarcus Lawrence, their defensive end? Their best pass rusher, arguably.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Herbert's going to have plenty of time. And we know that the Cowboys defense secondary can't cover anyone. Love Herbert in this matchup at home. The Cowboys defense is a defense that just keeps giving. So put him into your lineup in your cash game. Najee Harris. Emil, do you remember a time when a running back had 100% snaps in the last 5 years? I couldn't believe it. That like never had 100% of snaps.
And the point is he's a rookie, and so you'd think maybe they'd take him down on 3rd down because of blocking. Nope. He's
the goal line back. He's the pass catching back. He's all 4 downs. He's loaded. So you're giving me 100% snaps. He had 17 touches. I think the Steelers are going to kill the Raiders in this game. I love the Steelers at home. Najee Harris should have an uptick to 25 touches. I don't think necessarily he'll get 100% snaps. That's unbelievable. But let's say he has 85% snaps, Emil. He gets 25%. He gets 25 touches in the passing game and the running game. Also, touchdowns are fickle. He didn't have a touchdown last week. He had some carries in the red zone, the goal line, but he didn't get in. He'll get in against the Raiders. Absolutely love Najee Harris. I know he's 20% owned, but you do need points scored. So you got to balance out ownership with points, and I love the projection of over 20 points for Najee Harris here. Wide receivers, loaded. You choose your Cowboys and your Chargers. So many good options. But I wanted to give you 2 matchups that I am so excited about Allen Robinson. Last week, he scored 9.5 points. Not overly impressive, but he had 11 targets. He had 6 receptions. But that was a game in which they played the Rams. The Bears are not the Rams. Or the Bengals, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bengals, yeah.
He's on the Bears. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, and more importantly, Adam Thielen, 8 against that Bengals secondary. Allen Robinson is in a smash spot. He is likely to be lined up against Eli Apple. I've been picking on Eli Apple when he was on the Giants. I'm going to continue to pick on Eli Apple. Allen Robinson gets into the end zone here. Allen Robinson gets peppered with another 10 targets. I think they are more efficient with those targets against Cincinnati. Love Allen Robinson for 6,200. And Emil, I'm going to walk on narrative street. I think the nation watched the Buccaneers absolutely dismantle on the Dallas Cowboys on that Thursday night. We were all so impressed. Gronk went off. Chris Godwin went off. Antonio Brown went off. Tom Brady is just such a brilliant, emotional player. He understands the locker room.
Yep.
The locker room says that Mike Evans has got to eat. He's got to eat. You know Tom Brady has walked up to Mike Evans this week, either in the locker room, the offensive meeting rooms, and you know Tom Brady has looked at Mike Evans and said, Mike, you're up next, my man. You're going to get the targets. Be ready. And I know Mike, I'm going to get you into that end zone. Emil, I love the numbers, but I love this game. It's a game of emotion and it's about physicality and mental toughness. And Tom Brady gets that better than almost any player I have seen in my 40 years watching football. Mike Evans is getting into that end zone because Tom Brady knows I need all 4 of these men to be with me all season long to get back-to-back Super Bowls. Mike Evans is going to eat, and that's my Fantastic Four this week, everyone.
Oh, that's really good. I love your logic, and you know, the more and more we try and figure out this Tom Brady, how could he be so, who is this guy? I mean, he was nobody.
I have no idea.
He was nobody coming out of college. He was drafted, whatever it was, 6th round. He couldn't run the 40. It was the films of him running the 40 were scary. It was so sad. But he knows things that you pointed out, and it's just so important to, there's so much more to football than what we see on TV. By the way, I did run real quickly on our lineup generator, your Fantastic Four, and you'll love to know that Moore for the Jets is one of the options it gives for the other players.
Moore is. I've been thinking about it because the air yards and the air yards were very good for Elijah Moore. So the optimizer likes that, I'm sure.
One of them, yeah.
And you got to think.
Go ahead.
What?
The
Patriots.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead. No, we know the Patriots are going to take away Corey Davis. That's a Belichickian move. Mm-hmm. They're going to double Corey Davis. They're going to put man-to-man coverage. Corey Davis succeeds against zone. He struggles with man-to-man coverage. So what do? If you're Belichick? You man him up. There's going to be opportunities for Elijah Moore in this lineup.
And also, again, you can do 50 lineups at a time. I usually just do the optimal, the 10, just to kind of get a feel for it. But Aaron Jones does come up a lot here in the optimizer with your Fantastic Four, which is a bounce back game for the Green Bay Packers. No doubt about that.
Absolutely.
All right, next slide. Are you ready?
Absolutely, my friend.
Here we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, build better DFS lineups with the footballdiehards.com. We have such a great team of fantasy football and DFS experts. And we have so much content on the website. Every week we have DraftKings cash plays and GPP stacks by Jamie Calandro. That's up there right now. Go and read both of his articles. If you're looking for wide receiver, cornerback matchups, we have the Shadow Nose by Gary Davenport. Looking for a wide receiver who has a good matchup that people might not be thinking about, Gary gives you those options. The Hall of Famer Bob Harris every week has the DFS 3 and out. The 3 players that he loves and the 1 player that he is fading this week in DFS. I read it every week, ladies and gentlemen. Our teammate, Justin Lanero, digging in the crates daily. You're looking for savings. You're looking for sleepers. You want to invest heavily in the Falcons and the Buccaneers game. You want some high-priced players in that game. Justin will give you some players where you can save salary. And then Sunday morning, Emil and I are here Saturdays for you. And you can always watch it on our YouTube channel, a replay of the show. But on Sunday mornings, Jason and Jamie give you the DFS Football Die-Hard show. Check them out. They're there for you. We got you covered for all of your DFS information. Plus, we have the optimizer and the ownership tool. When we put up the slides, all of the ownerships that you see in parentheses, I go online about 7:30 on Saturday morning, and those are the numbers that we currently have. Now, they're updated throughout the day all the way till kickoff. But when I go and I make the slides at about 7:30 in the morning, those are the percentiles for you.
Yeah, also, it was funny last week on Sunday with Jason and Jamie. Jason, among a lot of things they talked about, obviously, he pointed out for Indianapolis, he thought that Pascal would be a nice play. And I'm like, Pascal? I mean, I know Hilton's hurt and whatnot, and Pascal, of course, Pascal gets 2 touchdowns. He nailed that one. I didn't start him, but, it was a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the final slide. If I can hit it right. Here we are.
Emil, if you remember, in my GPP contrarian lineup last week, I hit a home run.
Oh, wow.
I told our viewers to go with the Seahawks and the Colts. And you can go back to watch week 1. And in that contrarian lineup and on the show, I also said Zach Pascal for 3,700.
Oh.
He had a 2% ownership. Absolutely loved him. Last week, the contrarian lineup was Russell Wilson, Nyheim Hines, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Zach Pascal.
Yikes.
That lineup, Emil, scored 106.6 points.
That's a great.
If you had used our optimizer and you had Joe Mixon in that lineup, or who was the other? Oh my God, I can't remember him now. The other good running back who smashed last week. Why can't I remember him? And he was in our lineups. Nick Chubb.
Oh,
if you had Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon in that lineup in the flex and in the other running back, you probably cashed because that lineup was low owned and it excelled. Because we had Wilson with 27 points, Lockett with 29. So I'm back here for you. And ladies and gentlemen, I cannot guarantee every week that I'm going to be able to get a GPP lineup. But I'm going to work as hard as I can to give you a contrarian lineup every week. High risk, high return. That's what we did with Seattle and Indianapolis. This week, Emil, we know that there are going to be lineup builds. Cowboys, Chargers, Titans, Seahawks, Falcons, Bucks, Vikings, Cardinals. They're going to be all over those lineups, and I get it. I had to look deeper. Where can I find value in a game that I believe that neither defense is very good, but the perception is that they're good. You know what? It's the 49ers and Eagles. I don't have any confidence in that 49ers defense. Saleh is gone. Rich Sherman is gone. DeForest Buckner is gone. Injuries in the secondary. And they got toasted by Detroit. Let me repeat that. The 49ers got toasted by the Lions, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't care if it's in garbage time. If you're a great defense, you do not give up over 30 points to the Detroit Lions. You sack Jared Goff, you hit Jared Goff, and you shut down the Detroit Lions. You don't let them get garbage time points. 49ers defense isn't good, folks. I'm going to pick on them this week. The Eagles have a good offense, not great offense. Last week we had Jalen Hurts. We were all in on Jalen Hurts. But so is I'm too worried the nation has figured it out, even though he's still too low. Oh, Emil, I forgot. What's the ownership on Hurts?
Let's take a look here. Let me take a second.
Because I think it was higher than I liked, even though I still think it's too low.
Yeah, let's see. Hertz is 5.996%.
So I think so for GPP, I want to go lower at the quarterback sometimes.
Yeah.
So I want to be contrarian. Emil, I'm switching to Jimmy. No one likes Jimmy.
No.
Less than 2% owned. No one wants him. He threw for 315 yards last week. He scored 18.8 DraftKings points. He hit over 3 times salary. If he gets a second touchdown, you're looking at 24 DraftKings points. So I can get less than 2% ownership on Jimmy G. I'm going to go Jimmy G contrarian. I'm going to go Deebo Samuel. Man, I don't expect another 35.9 again, but I will take Deebo Samuel against this secondary. The one thing I like about Kyle Shanahan, there's a lot of things, but one thing I like about Kyle Shanahan, when he has his receiver, and this goes all the way back to Atlanta, this goes all the way back to his years in San Francisco. Look at how good Ayuk was late in the year last year. He was feeding Ayuk. What did he do this week? Last week, he benched Ayuk, and he fed Deebo Samuel. So even though the ownership's a little bit high at 7%, I'm going to go Deebo Samuel, and I'm going to pair Deebo and George Kittle. George Kittle is in a terrific spot to produce lots of points. Last week he scored 11.8. He did not get in the end zone. I expect him to get in the end zone this week against the Eagles. We are looking for a contrarian stack. I do not believe people are going to be in on the San Francisco passing game. They're going to want Eli Mitchell. You're going to have maybe some Trey Sermon contrarian if he's on the field. That's obviously iffy. So in order to win a GPP or cash in a big tournament, I'm going to pivot from the 49ers run game to the 49ers passing game. We have a 49.5 over under. I love that. So I said to myself, if I'm going Jimmy G, I've got to get involved on the Eagles side. I'm going Miles Sanders. I thought Miles Sanders looked terrific against the Falcons. And I think people are going to be off of him because they saw Kenneth Gainwell. Touchdowns are fickle. They can come at any time. Miles Sanders scored 17.3 points, Emil, without a touchdown.
Wow.
If he gets that touchdown, that's 23.3 points. He's only 4% owned. I'll pivot from Hurts. I'll go the 49ers passing game. I'll take the Eagles and Miles Sanders. Get off the 49ers run game. Get on the Eagles run game. And then I'm going to go Rager. we spoke about him earlier. You can't clearly go for Devonta Smith, but I wanted the savings on the salary. There's only 2% owned. Emil, there's 4 left, and you have $5,000 per player in our optimizer. Emil, what do you think about that contrarian stack?
I love this stack. This is really cool, and I did put it in our optimizer on footballdivers.com. And obviously, there's a bunch of lineups. I did find an interesting one just to tune into some of the other stuff. One of the lineups, lineup 6 that I have here, it has Edmonds and Elijah Moore, and it also was able to fit Kamara in to that lineup. So that's one of them. There's obviously, you can do 50 at a time, and you can subtract players. So if you want to, the Mitchell guy comes up in a lot of these lineups. So if you want to like eliminate somebody, you can also eliminate players in the optimizer to see what you get. So yeah, this is a very, very interesting contrarian GPP lineup.
Hey, I want to help everyone win, and the goal is in GPP, you've got to embrace risk, and you've got to get off the games that everyone is on. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, certainly there's ones that when you look at a winning GPP, you're going, what? How can this guy win off?
They get there?
You're going to have those. You've got to look for guys that, like you've pointed out, have this quirky potential and have some potential upside, but have a floor that's so low. But that's the way it is. And you got to have, the ownership, as you pointed out here. Let me go back here. I mean, Rieger's 2% owned. I mean, Garoppolo in our data doesn't even show up. He's so low owned. I think people are scared about the shared, with the rookie coming in and playing a little here or there, getting in at the goal line, whatever. And so, this is what you, this is the way you form them. It's difficult, but it's the way it works.
Yeah, I mean, most GPP contrarian stacks are going to fail. But you're trying to identify that has a ceiling. Garoppolo could throw 3 touchdowns. Is it likely? Probably not. But if I'm going to win a GPP, that's what I need, right? I mean, that's how I'm going to do it, where everyone's afraid and you're embracing that. Like I identified Zach Pascal because I knew everyone was on Michael Pittman. So Zach Pascal, we went over the numbers last week. He was good the last month of last year, and I didn't expect 2 touchdowns. I would have been happy with 1, but give me 2. I was living large. I mean, that's how you do it. And I think Kittle, I'm getting him at less than 10% ownership with, 25-point upside. I'll do it any day. So, I'm hoping that Kittle scores once or twice, and that means Garoppolo's doing well. So that's how you do GPP.
Yeah.
I actually know. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to point out that the ownership percentages on the site is a fun place to look for GPP because you can just go down. I mean, some of these guys, Roethlisberger is 1.7% owned on FanDuel, and there isn't even any DraftKings data on him, or there's not enough data. So you can find these guys to consider just by looking, at the ownership on our site.
So one guy I want, what's Josh Allen?
Josh Allen is the second most owned quarterback at 11%.
See, so I thought about building the Dolphins-Bills, but when I saw Josh Allen at 11%, I said I needed to move off that for GPP. You can do it. I do, but I thought 11% was too high for a contrarian GPP.
Unless you take Teo, or Tua, I mean.
You could, what's Tua? Well, what's his percentage?
Doesn't even show him. So
he's low. Less than 2%.
Less than 2%, yeah.
And what's stupid question, what's Stephon Diggs then?
Let's go.
Stephon Diggs
here. Diggs is pretty high. He's at 13%. He's the 4th most owned wide receiver.
So you can't take him. I don't think you can touch him in a GPP either. You have to go elsewhere in that Bills passing game. But the Miami side, is fascinating. Mm-hmm. You can get real low ownership on Miami.
Exactly. Fantastic. Well, this has been great. I love your stuff. I can't wait to put some lineups in.
Thank you. I love doing it for our readers. We're here with you every Saturday throughout the season, and we got 18 weeks. Right? Last year 17. This year we got 18 weeks to help you. Right? More football.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, John. Thank you so much. Have a great Saturday, and everybody enjoy putting their DFS lineups in this week.